Hi guys, welcome to another edition of RCM Presents. Today we'll be joined by Hailey Fountain from Holistic in Houston. So feel free to ask any questions, join in on the conversation. Hailey's actually joining in right now. We'll be talking about holistic health and how to better take care of yourself in this difficult period. As you all already know, my name is Jamila Pipersberg, and I'm the CEO and founder of Realm Concept Market. Realm focuses on 100% clean beauty. Hello.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I think we can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super
Awesome.
excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on. This is such an important topic, especially as we're going into summer. We're all coming out of quarantine. I think my first question for you is, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm feeling great, honestly. One thing that I've been talking to a lot of my friends about and just people in my community is how everyone has their own experience right now, and all of our experiences are valid. And I'm so grateful that for me, this time in, if you will, has been really great for me, and sort of honing in on what's important to me in life and with my business. And also just making some life changes that needed to happen. So I have been, as hard as this time has been and stressful in some ways, I'm great because I've just really enjoyed this time to myself, and just kind of getting to know myself better. How are you?
I feel like I've gotten to know myself better as well. There is an optimism that I feel. There is this uplifting, creative nature that's kind of streaming out of me. I think we hopefully are all coming out a bit more compassionate and caring for other people. I think I started to plan in a way that I had never been able to before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just got into being more focused, meditating a bit more, being more grateful and even more gracious around certain things that before I was always so stressed about. Now it's just you know what? It'll be okay.
I love that. I'm all about all of those things. I love it.
Well, I'm so glad we're able to connect. We're going to jump into a series of questions that I have for you, but I'm just so curious, especially coming off the heels, we had quarantine and now we've had the protests going around. How are things in Houston?
It's good. Houston, I was so blown away by the peaceful protests that they had last week. And I feel so much love and so much compassion, and honestly some confusion. And I've spent a lot of time just reading and trying to learn and learn from every perspective. But I feel like Houston as a city, we've been through a lot with Hurricane Harvey and a lot in the city, and I think that the city is so strong, and I'm just so blown away by how powerful the movement has been here, particularly in Houston.
That's wonderful to hear. I'm based in New York, and the same thing. I'm just so blown away, and I'm really glad that people took to the streets to protest peacefully or protest the way that they could. At the end of the day, all feelings are valid, even
Yes.
if we might not agree with them. And I think it's good that people are voicing their opinion and are sharing that they're not okay with police brutality. They're not okay with the status quo as is. So that's part of being a citizen, right?
100%. Yeah, I love it. I think, I genuinely believe that I feel like so many crazy things have happened in 2020. I'm sure you've seen all those memes, and it's what's going on right now? But I think honestly this is creating so much space for change in so many aspects of life. And I'm just really excited to see how humanity comes out at the end of all this, because I think or at when I say the end of all this, the end of this year, because there's going to be so much change, and it's all so beautiful. So I'm just really excited to see it. It's uncomfortable at times, but I'm really excited to see how the world shifts and changes from everything going on this year.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people I've been reading and just seeing what's going on social media. And a lot of people are saying, if you are willing to look at it from another perspective, this is the year for a reset for so many of us. And that includes every single person, no matter your background, no matter how you might, perceive or see things. And, a reset's a good thing. Perspective is a good thing. And sometimes it has to be a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes we feel like we're just out of sorts and out of place, but that's the beautiful thing about life, right? You just get this opportunity to really grow.
100%. Yeah, I love it. And I think social media is the best thing about social media right now, is that we're all able to connect with people that share our, you know, our love for changing the world and for learning and growing, and, you know, share that with everybody. So I think, yeah, I'm just really, I feel grateful to be witnessing what's happening in the world right now, and the changes that are happening.
Absolutely. So I feel like we are going to start to flow into our questions. If you have any questions for me, feel free to toss them in. I'm, of course, available and open to anything. And if anyone who's watching, if you guys have questions for us, Hailey said she's an open book. I'm going to try my best to be an open book too. And let's just go ahead and jump in.
Yeah.
So you and I connected a few weeks ago. We've been planning and talking about setting up this IG Live. Of course, things have changed, you know, schedules, you know, current events, you know, our ability to respect current events. And I just was curious in the beginning, like, how did you get into holistic health?
Yeah, I think like most people that work in the health and wellness space, I had a lot of health problems. And, you know, growing up, I had all sorts of issues, asthma, allergy, really bad allergies. I had a lot of digestive problems, like acid reflux. And, you know, once I got to the age where I started having a period, I was having horrible PMS symptoms, and just, and you know, my parents did what majority of American parents do. They took me to the doctor. The doctor prescribed me a pill. Then I went home, took that pill, and then I'd have another issue come up, and I'd go to the doctor, and I would go, you know, take another pill. It was just like, it was this constant cycle. And then by the time I got to college, I realized I feel like I'm taking more pills than my grandma. You know, I'm so young. I shouldn't be on all this medication. There must be a different way. And I just started to research how I could heal my body naturally. I mean, I remember literally Googling natural remedies for XYZ and kind of starting there. And then from there, I just came into this world of like, wow, you can actually heal your body through the food that you eat, and you can actually prevent disease through the food that you eat. And then as I learned about that, I started to just get really engrossed in this world. And I started to think like, okay, but I was still having horrible anxiety. So I was eating well and working out, and I felt good, but mentally I wasn't 100% there. And there were still some things kind of holding me back in my health. And then I realized, okay, if I actually pay attention to my mental health and put a little emphasis on that, and I can, you know, I feel better. My anxiety isn't bad anymore. And then, you know, that led me to spirituality and meditation and mindfulness, which has helped me spiritually to grow as a person and just feel my connection to my fellow humans and to the universe and the world and to God or whatever higher power, you know, you believe in. So it's just become, and that's where holistic in Houston came from, because it really is about health for the whole being.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I really love that you took the approach to breaking it down step by step, making it simple first for yourself, and then for, you know, your fellow community member or anyone else who's willing to you know, endeavor on trying to find a way to address those issues. I myself jump in, you know, like I started Realm Concept Market because I had a series of health issues. They went from not good to bad to worse. And I was going to all these doctors and specialists, and it just kind of hit me like, oh my God, this is not going to get any better unless I choose to, you know, really take myself on and, you know, be an advocate for myself and teach myself what I need to be consuming, what should be on my skin, what shouldn't. For me, I felt as though like I was either ingesting or had eaten something that had completely affected my GI tract and spurred things out. I have a thyroid condition, which ended up being something that was, you know, generational for me. My mother, my great grandmother also had it. But then I had PCOS. That was like my last straw. And I was like, okay, so this is something that a lot of women deal with. It's something that, you know, we don't readily talk about. And I'm tired of feeling like I don't have any control over my wellness. And I just kind of took it on from there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think, and a lot of people, you know, feel embarrassed to share, you know, some of the health problems they're having, because we just live in a world where there's not a lot of room for that. And I think in being open about some of the issues that we're having, we're able to find better remedies and more sustainable options for our health. So I love that. And I love your business and everything that you stand for.
I love your business and everything that you stand for. I think it's so amazing that you've just kind of taken this on and you're trying to help millennials. I think a lot of the times people don't think that millennials need that kind of support. And like through your coaching, there's someone that could have a much better life and experience mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I just think it's so amazing what you do.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people don't start to think about their health until they get to where they don't have it anymore, like it's not really something, you hear the quote, health is wealth, but a lot of people don't really invest time and energy into their health until it's too late, until they're about to lose it, or maybe perhaps they are just aging and starting to, see that in their body and feel that. So I really want to, and although I don't discriminate. I will serve whatever age group and whoever comes to me. I certainly I want people to start young and really encourage people before they lose their health to invest in it now, so that they can have a longer, healthier, happier life.
That's absolutely the same method and thought process that I had. And I'm glad that you're so willing to share that and share the information that you've taken the time to learn. So my next question for you, it's like, what levels do you practice, or like what levels do you try to introduce your clients to?
Yeah, so my three pillars for health are body, mind, and soul. So encompassing the whole being, holistic health. So what that looks like is when we're talking about the body, and most health coaches and most health anyone in the health and wellness field really only focuses on the physical body, which is important. There's nutrition, so eating foods that are good for you and make you feel good, not calorie counting, not doing crazy diets, just eating foods from the earth that have one ingredient and that nourish your body. And movement. Notice I didn't say fitness, I say movement, because I'm more about movement and honoring your body and your health through moving it, and what that looks different for every single person. So it might not be doing 100 sit-ups in the gyms. It might just be walking or yoga or, I don't know, hula hooping, whatever that is, but just movement. So I share a lot about the physical body. And then my second pillar, the mind, making sure that you have a healthy mind, because you can eat well and work out, but if you don't deal with the stuff that's going on in your head, then you're not going to be truly healthy. A lot of millennials, if not all millennials, deal with some level of anxiety. So I really try to address that with people, because stress and anxiety can wreak havoc on your body physically. So I talk about mental health. I share my experience in seeing a therapist, and how talk therapy has been so good for me, and having someone to listen to me. And then the third pillar is the soul, or the spirit. So that is spirituality. That is connecting to your intuition, connecting to a higher power, whether that, I refer to the terms interchangeably, whether that's God, the universe, source power, whatever higher power that is, but that's connecting to something greater than yourself. And connecting to your heart space, and just connecting to your passion and all of that. So all of those things are intertwined, but holistic health is, the essence of it is body, mind, and soul, and the fact that we are connected in the different elements of ourselves, and we are also connected to the people around us and in the world, and connected to Mother Earth and the universe. So I kind of encompass all of that into kind of my philosophies.
And that's really great. I think it's great that you're trying to take the whole essence of a person, of course, the holistic aspect, and breaking it down for them so it becomes more accessible. And then they can also make very active decisions about where they want to take their journey. So I'm guessing at this point for your clients, every experience is really tailored to their need.
Yeah, 100%. And my biggest philosophy in health and wellness is really giving people the tool, empowering them to be their own advocate for their health, and showing people, through mindfulness and intuition and intuitive eating, how they can actually, heal themselves. Because so often, and I think it's just because of the world that we, in Western society and in American culture particularly, we have been taught that you outsource your health to a doctor. And no, like, I love doctors. Doctors are great, so I'm not hating on doctors, but you outsource your health to a doctor, or you outsource your health to a nutritionist. But really, like, you know your body best. And so it's important that you, and I've spoken to so many women who, and men too, but a lot of women that go to the doctor and they're having certain symptoms, and they're just told, like, oh, it's in your head, or oh, here's a pill for this or that, or, and not really getting to the root cause. And oftentimes there are multiple root causes. So I think it's really important that people become their own health advocate. And of course, you want to rely on experts who know what they're doing, but you also want to do your own research and just know your body. And like, you know when something like isn't right. You know, we, especially particularly women, we have very strong intuitions, and you know when something's not right in your body. And when you're having a symptom or a pain or discomfort, that's your body telling you that something's not right. So my goal is to empower people that they can send those signals and become their own health advocate and heal their body themselves.
So what you're saying in the shorter version might just be like, you're trying to teach people to become more in tune with themselves. Am I capturing that right?
100%. Yeah, 100%. You made that much more simple than I did, Jamila.
No. I just love to listen to it, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to process, you know, as we're listening and speaking. And I just thought to myself, wow, like, you're helping people getting in tune with who they are and what they are, and hopefully what's important. So I think that's super powerful. So I think with that said, how do you get people to become one more in tune in the age of anxiety? So she is a millennial. We're all dealing with some form of anxiety. I know I do.
Yes, mental health issues are, because right now, heart disease is like the -- killer in America. But I think I saw a statistic saying that mental health diseases are actually going to surpass that soon. The millennial generation in particular, we are just under chronic stress. And I think that it's so important to be aware of that, because stress impacts your physical health in so many ways. We have these things called hormones that kind of run our body secretly. We don't see them, but we definitely feel them. And when you're stressed, you have a hormone called cortisol that increases in your body. That's the stress hormone. And you also get some adrenaline as well. And that can cause so many problems in your body. Stress in small amounts is good. Our bodies were designed to have short spurts of stress to keep us physically safe. But now people are living with chronic stress, and it's debilitating and causing so many health problems. So my advice to anyone that is, you know, trying to lessen that stress and anxiety: mindfulness. Finding ways to incorporate mindfulness into your daily life. So what is mindfulness? It's just about being present. So a few of the mindfulness activities that I recommend, you can do a formal mindfulness practice or an informal. I think a combination of the two is your best bet. Meditation. I know you talked a little bit, Jamila, at the beginning of this about meditation. Meditation has changed my life. I find it very daunting, and they think that they have to that it has to be this like super, you know, fancy thing, and it can be. You can get off. I have a little meditation corner here with my crystals and my sage, and I love making it a whole kind of ritual, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. It can be as simple as just sitting, and if you have Apple Music has some great meditation. Just search meditation on there. There's some great meditation playlists. Put in your headphones, go in a quiet place, and just breathe. Listen to your breath in and out slowly. It's as simple as that. And then, you know, yoga is another fantastic, more formal way to practice mindfulness, the breath work and the movement that goes into that. I love yoga. And then informally, you can just breathe. We breathe so shallow during the day, especially when we're stressed. You're not getting enough oxygen to your brain. Like I know it sounds silly, but like we breathe from our chest. Try breathing through your belly, actually, and taking really big, deep breaths. And you can do this, you know, you don't have to go into a little room and meditate. You can do this sitting at your desk at work. You know, if you're just, nobody even around you has to even know that that's happening. You just take a few deep breaths, close your eyes or leave your eyes open, and just be mindful of the present moment for a second. Another informal way that I love to kind of help, you know, with mindfulness and managing stress and anxiety is through mantras or affirmations. So I keep affirmations on, you know, written on sticky notes all over my apartment. They're everywhere. There's some up there. I've got them on my computer. So I specifically write affirmations that help me to feel a little more in control of my day, and keep them on my laptop. So like this one says, I'm capable of doing anything that I put my mind to. So that just reminds me, anytime I'm feeling stressed, I have that sitting there on my laptop to remind me that, like, I can do this. I'm capable of this. If I put my mind to it, I can do it. And that's just like sort of and I say it over and over. I read it, I say it out loud. And this other one says, I see everything as a learning experience, to remind myself that, like, life is about learning and about growth. And anytime something doesn't go the way that I want it to, I'm just learning. It's a failing forward and learning and trying to be better. So kind of changing my mindset around the things that are making me stressed, and just being, again, very mindful.
I think we're frozen. Okay, we're back. I really appreciate you sharing those examples. I think it's so important that we all find at least one of those strategies to help us become more mindful, de-stress a little bit. I read recently that it takes just about 10 minutes of, let's say, meditation, for example, to help you somewhat, like, help your body recalibrate and figure out what your center is. And, you know, 10 minutes a day realistically is nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I think if anyone's out there, if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling stressed, even if it's not 10 minutes consecutively, figure out how to find that 10 minutes a day for yourself. It's so important. You'll be a better person for you and for everyone else around you.
100%.
Let's see. Yeah, I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions. I feel like I've been taking up all the question time.
I think somebody, I don't know if you introduced, Jamila, what exactly your business does, but somebody had asked what you do. So maybe if you want to share just a little bit about your business.
Sure. So Wrong Concept Market, we're a concept store that sells oils and elixirs to help people with their self-care journey. We started out selling only argan oil that's sourced directly from Morocco, and we're a clean beauty brand, right? So you can put it on from head to toe, and we're helping people find their realm in real life, or IRL is what I like to say. For us, it's so important that, like, you don't just get the added moisture and support that your skin needs, but you also get all those little things that make you feel more confident as you're going out throughout the day. You know, removing some of those extra added chemicals, removing the need for, like, any animals to be hurt, to a cruelty-free brand, and any extra chemicals is definitely something that we should all kind of strive to, especially as the world is changing and unfolding. So we decided just to endeavor on something different. I love what I do. I do my business full time now, which is really exciting. And, you know, we're continuing to develop new products. Right now, we're actually working on a pre-sale for a CBD face oil product, which is called the Glow Up. So if anyone's interested, please DM us. We're working on that as well. And it's just about growth and self-care. That's the nature of what we do, in a lot of words.
We love self-care.
Don't we? It's so great. So, anyone else? I also don't have on my glasses. It's just like the worst thing I can do when I'm trying to read really small print. Okay. So we're now going to dive into the next question, which I think all of the ladies out there would be more interested in than some of the gents. Right now, how would you recommend for someone to live holistically and dealing with the amounts maybe stress that we've been under and our cycle?
Yes, so I love talking about the female menstrual cycle. Ask anyone who knows me, I'm like, you'll always catch me talking about, like, the menstrual cycle all the time, because it's such a beautiful gift for women. And if you tune into your cycle, you can optimize on it and enhance your life. So there's so much that goes into it, but I would say right now, stress again releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and those hormones will interact and cause a lot of issues for the sex hormones that your body needs to regulate your menstrual cycle. So, like estrogen and progesterone, for example. So, some of the best things you can do is really just take care of yourself, like, which sounds so basic, but you have children, and it is really hard sometimes to just take care of yourself. So get back to your basic needs. Make sure you're getting a lot of sleep, quality sleep, because that's when your body rests and restores and that's how your body helps your body stay in homeostasis by getting a lot of quality rest. And you also want to eat foods that are going to help your body balance out those hormones as well. So eating your greens, getting lots of veggies, lots of green veggies, dark leafy greens. Try to have one salad a day. I always recommend a green smoothie per day. You can add spinach into almost any smoothie and you won't taste it. So a green smoothie a day is a great way to get a lot of greens. Eat your fatty fish, so wild caught salmon or sardines or herring. Once or twice a week is really good for women to help with hormonal balance. And just avoiding, an anti-inflammatory diet, which all those things I just listed are part of an anti-inflammatory diet, drinking a lot of water, just really taking care of yourself. And then also, women are very empathetic creatures by nature, and we tend to take on the stress of a lot of things going on around us. So in a situation like COVID right now, where there's just a lot of stress around us, a lot of women might be finding themselves, and men too, but particularly women are prone to kind of an empathetic overload. Like you're just absorbing not only your own stress and uncertainty, but the stress and uncertainty of those around you. So just making sure that you're making time for yourself, even if it's 15 minutes a day to do an activity that just brings you joy. An activity not because it's productive, not because it's whatever, not because you have to, just an activity that purely brings you joy, a little bit of playtime. So that could be a bubble bath, that could be reading a book, that can be whatever you want it to be. But just giving yourself a little bit of time to yourself each day to disconnect from the rest of the world and even the people in your life is going to make a huge difference for your health, and also honestly your menstrual cycle, which sounds crazy, but it is, because everything impacts that. So yeah, I just think take care of yourself is the theme.
I love what you said about a little bit of playtime for yourself. So many times we just remove it from our
Yeah.
calendar, like, oh, I can get to it tomorrow. Or I set like a date for something fun for me, and I'm like, that makes no sense. There should be just a little bit of time every day where it's just like, okay, this is for you, for your wellness. So I really love that. I love we call it playtime.
Yeah, you got to make time for just fun activities. We stop playing when we become adults. As kids, we play, we run, we play, we draw, we color, we play with our dolls, we play dress up, we do all sorts of things. And then we grow up and we stop making time for that. And I just think that that's a huge mistake. And you have to have time for just activities that bring you joy. So it's really important to do that, especially with everything going on right now.
Absolutely. Let's see, rolling on down. I know that when we spoke earlier, you mentioned something about, losing weight the loving way. Can you explain like what you mean by that? And like, are there any strategies that a person could say, like, these are like a few things that you can do to start to lose weight the loving way?
Yeah, 100%. I did a whole series on this, a couple Instagram, and I think I see so many people who want to lose weight, and they get into that the cycle of what I call yo-yo dieting. So they diet, they lose weight, they might work out a lot, they lose the weight,
Okay.
and then they end up gaining the weight. And sometimes they gain more weight back. And actually, the
Mhm.
statistics are kind of all over the place. But if you search the facts, about 70 to 80% of people that lose a significant amount of weight will gain it back plus more, which is really sad because people work really hard. And I think there's a lot that goes into that physically. But my answer probably is not going to be something it might be something you've heard before. I don't know, but I don't hear many people talking about this. But to make a true lasting change in your life, it all starts up here. So I tell everybody, before you embark on a journey of trying to lose weight or trying really any change, it can be with your health or it can be a change in another area of your life, but specifically for weight loss and like just overall health and wellness, the first thing you have to do is define your why. So why do you want to lose weight? And it can't just be because you want to look good in the swimsuit at your friend's beach wedding, or because, oh, I want to lose the baby weight and wear the jeans I was wearing before I got pregnant. You know, those are too fleeting. They're too superficial. It has to be something that's bigger than you. You know, so for a lot of people have different things. So like for the mom who wants to lose the baby weight, instead you wait because you want to fit back into your jeans. Try to lose the baby weight and get fit and healthy so that you have the energy to keep up with your children and be healthy and show them what health looks like as a mother and be able to play and run with them and just enjoy life with your kiddos. Now that's something that's bigger than you. You know, that's bigger than that's something to hang on to. And then whenever the vanity of the diet or the gym membership wears off, because they will wear off, that's something that you're going to hang on to for a long-term change. So the biggest one with losing weight in a loving way, before you do anything, I tell everybody, define your why. And the second thing is you have to become very aware of your relationship with yourself and the way that you speak to yourself. So and this is something that I used to really struggle with, is I was, you know, trying to lose weight and I was trying to be healthy and I was doing all the things. I was working out every day and, you know, I had my diet, all that stuff. And then but then I would go home and look in the mirror and just say really mean things to myself. You know, I didn't love myself. So we have to start paying attention to that voice in our head. I used to see a therapist and she called it the saboteur. I refer to her, my voice, I refer to her as Regina George, like from Mean Girls. And I'm like, that's Regina talking. That's not me talking, you know? So you have to pay attention to that voice in your head, the way that it's talking to you, and start talking to yourself in a loving and compassionate way, the way that you would talk to a friend. Because sometimes often I catch myself saying something to myself, and I'm like, would I talk to my best friend that way? Would I talk to someone that I love that way? Probably not. So you have to start talking to yourself like a friend. So those aren't really conventional answers for weight loss, but I guarantee you, anyone who's trying to lose weight sustainably, you have to start with what's going on in your head and your heart before you do anything physical.
That is something I've never heard before. A lot of people say like, oh, you know, wake up earlier, go to sleep at a different time. People say drink more caffeine, do this, do that. But starting with your mind and like being kind to yourself, it's such a beautiful.
Yeah, percent. And I tell people, you know, because I have clients coming to me who want to lose weight, and I'm all about, you know, if weight loss is a part of your overall health journey, like let's do it. But this is not a weight loss blog. Like this is long-term health, and weight loss might be a part of that journey, you know. But people have to realize if you are trying to just lose weight you have an event coming up, like this is not the place for you. Unfortunately, there's plenty of other places every corner you turn that will promise to help you drop 10 pounds in a month or something crazy. But you know, I'm all about lasting change and creating long term health and consistency.
Absolutely. I think that's so wonderful. And it's important that like you are being so forthright and honest with your clients. Like, hey, I'm just not the girl if you're looking for that.
Yeah.
So, you know, we usually talk about self-care in this program. I usually like to start off like, oh, what's your self-care practice? But I'm really curious, like, what are the self-care practices that you're currently using?
Yeah, so I do a lot of things. From a physical standpoint, you know, I think I love to pamper myself. I love luxurious bubble baths. I love skincare. I love facials. I love all those things. That just brings me a lot of joy. So from a physical perspective, I love doing those things, and you know, just having a cup of tea and reading a good book. So just doing things that bring me joy, whatever that looks like. Sometimes it's a long walk with my dog. I'm really trying to be conscious, especially during COVID, about everything that I'm doing, and just making sure that I'm intentional, because it is a really high stress and uncertain time for a lot of people, including myself. So those are some of the things from a physical standpoint. And then another thing that people may not they may not classify as self-care, but to me it's self-care, is deleting my social media apps. So I will delete my Instagram app for a day, or sometimes 4 or 5 days, sometimes a week, whatever I need, and my Facebook app. If I find my anxiety is really high and I'm spending too much time on social media, that is a form of self-care. And also, purging your social media and making sure you're only following people who inspire you and bring you joy, is also a form of self-care. So making sure that you are only following accounts that are speaking to you in the way that you want to be spoken to, and just inspiring you and not making you feel bad about yourself, I think is a form of self-care. And then something as simple as just calling a friend whenever you need to talk. We often internalize so much that we're going through, and so a form of self-care for me is just every night calling a friend for at least 10 or 15 minutes and just talking about whatever's on my heart. That form of connection is so crucial, particularly now, again, because we are all isolated.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like, especially I've been trying to keep up with friends, especially the ones who live alone. It's so hard,
Mm-hmm.
being in 2.5, 3 months of quarantine, right? Like, what happens? And also, it's just so important to check in on those people. You never know what could happen. And I think has changed relationships for me in a positive way to, like, just have that, every once in a while, if you think of someone, send a little text or give a little call. It does make a really big difference.
Yeah, 100%. And
So
yeah,
my
we need that connection.
Yeah, hasn't it been somewhat, fulfilling and rewarding, and just enlightening to meet people in this new or just a different space and time?
Yeah, 100. It has. I mean, I'm loving all the connections that I'm making, and then of course, when I do see my friends and family, it makes it that much more valuable. So we need that. People forget that is a need. We have a basic human need of connection and like forming relationships, so we have to honor that.
That's awesome. I love that. My next question for you, it's like, uh, on one end, there's self-care, on the other end, there's self-love. How are you practicing self-love?
Question. I talked about that also a couple weeks ago on my Instagram, and you know, a lot of people get self care and self love confused. So, and I know that you know this, Jamila, but for anyone listening, self care is what you do for yourself. Self love is how you feel about yourself. And so, I
Yeah.
only recently, maybe in the last year or so, have really understood what true self love is. And it is simply just practicing grace and compassion with myself. And like I said earlier, speaking to myself like a friend. So, one of my favorite ways to kind of hold myself accountable to that is through affirmations, like I spoke about earlier. So, I have affirmations plastered all over my apartment. And you can also set them as like reminders on your phone. So, whatever it
Hmm.
is that you are that you're working on, so like let's say that um, you're having an issue with, your confidence, like you're constantly, feeling down, or you're not confident, and that's affecting your life. So just simply saying, I am confident. I love myself. I have a lot to offer, or whatever that looks like. Right. For me now, because I've done it so much, it kind of comes second nature to me. But if that is a foreign concept to you, simply writing them down and plastering them all over your apartment, or putting them on your phone, or somewhere that you're going to see them every day, multiple times a day, is a great way to just hold yourself up to self love practice.
I love that. I know that some people say, like, as you know, like you talking about, you like putting post-it notes all over your wall. I like having like a little gratitude or even affirmation notebook. And if I feel like, okay, I need to have a moment with myself, or I'm not having a great day, sometimes I pull out my little notebook and I write down or I read the affirmations I already wrote. And it does give me that little boost of confidence to like get back on the horse and like do it again. And I think it's really made my life, it's been fulfilling in like a completely different way that I didn't.
Yes, I love the journal. It's such a great idea. I do practice gratitude. I'm not as consistent as you are, but I love that you're doing that. And yeah, it's finding like whatever works for you too, right? Whatever flow works for you, whether that's a journal or sticky notes or putting it all on your phone or writing it on your hand or whatever you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love that. As long as you're getting it done. I know that I don't write in my gratitude journal. You know, you have that moment and you need that reassurance, you have that moment of inspiration. As long as you're taking the time, those few seconds it takes, like, you know, dedicate that and honor yourself, as you say, like that's where your confidence continues to build and grow. Like, I think it's just so important, especially now that we're in this transitional space and year and place, to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
So I think we're almost down to my last question. I wrote down like a whole thing. I like printed it out so I could remember what all I was supposed to ask you.
I love it.
So like, as a professional, like what would you recommend for someone who's thinking to themselves right now, hey, I want to practice. Oh no, am I losing you? Oh,
Jamila,
can you hear
sorry,
me?
I think I lost you. I lost you on that last question. What was that?
No worries. I was like, as a holistic coach and like a holistic teacher, what would you recommend for someone who is thinking to themselves, "Hey, I want to learn about holistic care. I want to change my life." Like, what are the simple things that they can do to start to get themselves on that path?
Yeah, I think luckily we live in the age of the internet and there's so many resources out there. So, education and knowledge are power. So I think educating yourself and like I said, I started very simply with, Googling natural remedies for XYZ and it just kind of built from there. So that could be a really great place. There's tons of resources available on social media as well. My blog is a great place to look, and there's plenty of other bloggers and influencers and experts who are on social media. So you can search by hashtag whatever it is that you're trying to learn more about and go on there. But I think back to what we talked about earlier, Jamila, with becoming your own biggest health advocate, I think is the key here, and really tuning into your body. So start paying attention to your body and how you feel and what it's trying to tell you. So I
Yeah.
think keeping a food journal, for some people I know that can be triggering if you have a history of any sort of eating disorders, but for most people, keeping a journal of just write down what did you eat and then how did you feel after you ate it, and paying attention, start tuning in to what the signals that your body is trying to tell you. So for me, for example, I found out that I was lactose intolerant because every time I ate dairy, I felt really sick after and lethargic and had digestive problems. And so, you can start to learn a little bit about yourself that way. And again, back to mindfulness and kind of tuning in spiritually as well is really important to kind of learn how you feel at this moment. So you do some little sanity checks throughout the day and see, after see what triggers you. What every time you have a meeting with your boss, if you just feel so anxious and angry, maybe you need to try to find a new perspective on that, or maybe you need to figure out what in that situation is triggering you, or maybe it's just your job sucks and you need to find a new career. Like sometimes that's it too, so just
Yeah.
really tuning in and figuring out what you need to be the best version of yourself, I think is my overall message. And just paying attention and being aware.
That is wonderful. I think that's something that we can all commit to no matter where we are in our journey. Mindfulness, awareness, and kindness to yourself is like the first steps to being able to build like a really great life. I think that is all the questions I have today. I'm so happy that we were able to connect, Hailey. I'm really grateful that you were able to share with us. And hopefully there's someone out there that will be able to, embark on this new holistic journey.
Yes, I'm so grateful for you, Jamila. Thank you so much for inviting me on here and for connecting. And for all of my followers that have joined this call, please go check out Jamila's business. She does all natural, plant-based, eco-friendly beauty products, and she has some fantastic products available. Go check her out, support her business. And yeah, I hope everyone has a happy and healthy rest of your week.
Wonderful. Everyone have a great rest of your week. This is Jamila Pipersburg. We've had Hailey Fountain from Holistic in Houston. Thank you so much, and we will talk soon.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Take care.